Hello everybody, welcome back to 2DS Studios. I'm 2DS, and I have recently fallen very deep into the rabbit hole that is Crash Bandicoot lore. I've always loved this franchise since childhood, but something very mysterious has always stuck out to me, and that is the unknown history of Tawna Bandicoot. Tawna Bandicoot was introduced in Crash 1 as the damsel in distress. Tawna was one of the many animals that Cortex experimented on as a part of his Cortex Commandos, which was an army of mutated animals that Cortex planned to use for his plans of world domination. And clearly the best way to take over the world is with a furry version of Jessica Rabbit, apparently.
That was Tawna. She was created strictly for research purposes.
You know, maybe it's best we don't question this. And after Crash escapes from Cortex's lair, Tawna ends up being next on the experimenting block, leaving Crash to go back to the lair and save his girlfriend. And once you beat the game, the day is saved, leaving Crash and Tawna to live happily ever after. That is until the sequel, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, and who dat? This girl is Coco Bandicoot, Crash's little sister. Universal, the company that owned the rights to Crash Bandicoot at the time, had a problem with Tawna's design being too sexual for a kid's game. I have two guesses why they thought that, and if they thought her final design was suggestive, wait till they see the concept art.
What the? Oh! How did they suddenly stumble into furry porn?
And because of her design being seen as inappropriate, Naughty Dog, the developers, were tasked with either redesigning Tawna or getting rid of her. And in this process, they replaced her with a new character, being the much cuter and more kid-friendly Coco Bandicoot, who would become a mainstay, being in every major Crash game after this, while Tawna would never be seen again, or at least aside from small cameos. And all of this would remain a mystery until 2020 with the release of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Crash 4 is basically like a soft reboot of the franchise, and this game marked the grand return of Tawna in a mainline Crash game. Except this time, Tawna looked a lot different, and this is because she was from an alternate dimension. In an alternate dimension where Crash and Coco were killed by their universe's Entropy, who's a gender-bent version of the main Entropy we've known throughout the series. And because of Crash and Coco dying in Tawna's universe, she prefers to do things solo. Okay, cool, so Tawna's back. This answers everything, right? Well, yes, but actually no, because if anything, this creates even more questions, because now a second Tawna has entered the Crash franchise. Because this Tawna is from a different universe, it also begs the question of where the original Tawna is. And with Crash 4, we go through so many different universes and time periods, but we never see what Tawna's universe is actually like, and she's the only one of the playable characters that is from an alternate universe. So not only does Crash Bandicoot 4 raise questions about the original Tawna, but it raises questions about a brand new Tawna. I've said Tawna so much that the word Tawna has lost all meaning to me. One thing about time travel and multiversal stories in pop culture is that you can always count on them to give you the biggest headache because they're so complicated. Hey everybody, Damari here with an update for my dad's sepsis GoFundMe. After 2 long months in the California hospital, my dad is officially back home in Omaha. He still has a long ways to recover, but he's made a lot of great progress, and he's finally back home where he belongs. If you've been following my socials, you know that me and my family have been going through a lot of hard times lately, with this being one of them. So it's really glad to see that my dad is finally home. I missed him. I missed him more than anything. I'm glad he's home, and I'm also glad to see all of your support for him with the GoFundMe. We're officially halfway to the goal, so keep on sharing and donating if you can. And we couldn't have gotten this far if it wasn't for you. Links in the description. Thank you all for your support. We have a behind the scenes explanation for why Tawna left the series, but here's the thing. The reason why Tawna was never seen again after Crash 1 was never fully explained in the game's stories. So for most of the franchise's history, we've had no real reason on why Tawna was gone. They almost act like Tawna was just never a thing. Like, imagine if in Super Mario Bros. They have Peach in the first game, but then replace her with Daisy and just act like nothing changed at all. That's basically what happened to Tawna. Except Tawna got replaced by not one, but 2 characters, Coco and her alternate universe self. And speaking of Coco, the flashback tapes detail when Coco was created and experimented on, after the events of Crash 1 but before Crash 2, since Crash 2 takes place a year after the first. So after 23 years we finally figured out where Coco's origin story is, but we still don't know where the original Tawna is. Maybe she went to Gringotts Steakhouse. Turns out I'm actually not too far off with that joke, because according to the Japanese manual for Crash Bandicoot 2, Tawna actually dumped Crash and is now dating Pinstripe Potoroo, who was one of the villains in the first game. And the only other time this lore is mentioned is in Crash Boom Bang, which was made by Japanese developers. You know, knowing that Crash got dumped and then his girlfriend left him for someone that tried to kill him, kinda feel bad for the guy. And funny enough is that according to this concept art, it looks like this is still canon, possibly. And Tawna is the mother to Pinstripe's baby. Their baby got some weird looking eyes. Also, I do think it would be kind of cool if we got to see the alternate universe Tawna meet this version of Tawna in a future game. Maybe they could have a little bit of a rivalry or something. Have Tawna and Pinstripe become this cool evil villain couple. I mean, especially since we haven't seen these characters since like the first game. I feel like there's a lot of potential to do some interesting stuff. And speaking of alternate universe Tawna, why not go to her universe and see what that's like? Judging off of Crash 4 Tawna's design, I like to imagine her universe is kind of like a Mad Max-esque future. Definitely something like very post-apocalyptic, since that is the universe where their Crash and Coco got defeated. Maybe it's kind of like Sonic Sat AM, where Robotnik rules over the world, and Tawna's like one of the freedom fighters. A lot of interesting stuff you could do for future games. Toys for Bob, hire me, I got ideas. You know what, actually let's compare both designs for Tawna, because I really like them both. I like how they have two different design mentalities, but they all boil down to me and the baddie I pulled by being Goofy meme. With Crash being the Roger to Tawna's Jessica, especially since Jessica Rabbit and Pamela Anderson were the inspirations for OG Tawna. Very fitting, especially when you see that concept art from earlier. But again, I do also really like Crash 4 Tawna. I really like her like yellow and blue hair and with the mohawk. See, with Crash and Tawna, the OG version is Jessica and Roger Rabbit, but the Crash 4 version is like Fix-It Felix and Sergeant Calhoun. But which Tawna do you prefer? Crash 4 Tawna or OG Tawna? Let me know in the comments. This was a fun little video to dissect Tawna's backstory and a little bit about Coco too. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, because I would love to talk more about Crash Bandicoot. But until next time, this has been 2DS Studios, and until next time, stay tuned and stay cool.